Jake is big. Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode, but I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf, and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe for the best channel in the business for fighting.
Music. Ryan Garcia has made some strong statements about the upcoming fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, calling it a disgrace to boxing. Jake is big, Tank, has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts we saw. I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw and I just don't know, and Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds. His comments came just hours after news broke that the two would be squaring off in an exhibition match later this year. Garcia took to Instagram blasting the matchup as an unfair spectacle that doesn't belong in legitimate boxing. His criticism wasn't just about the spectacle nature of the event, but also the huge weight disparity between the two fighters. Garcia pointed out that Davis, a lightweight champion, would be facing Paul, who's much heavier, which he sees as a joke in the context of real boxing competition. Garcia's comments likely come from a place of frustration, especially given that he lost to Davis just last year in a dramatic 7th-round knockout. The fight scheduled for November 14, 2025 at State Farm Arena in Atlanta will be streamed worldwide on Netflix. While the weight class and round details are still up in the air, the announcement has already stirred plenty of controversy. The deal between both camps has reportedly been in the works for months, but the timeline kept shifting. It wasn't until after Davis's fight against Lamont Roach in March, which ended in a surprisingly majority draw, that the fight was finally confirmed. For Davis, who recently stated he was considering stepping away from boxing, the allure of a massive payday seems too good to pass up despite the backlash. Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta "Tank" Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder. Nearly 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Jake Paul, known for his unconventional rise in boxing, will be stepping into the ring with a much more experienced fighter in Davis. While Paul has made waves in boxing with several wins against notable but often past their prime fighters, this will be a different challenge altogether. Fans are skeptical as Paul has never faced anyone close to Davis's caliber. But for Paul, the chances to go up against one of boxing's best is a bold move, especially as he continues his journey to gain legitimacy in the sport. Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva Espa, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul, but it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has he been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis fake Paul November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode, but hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf and I can't. I've got to get off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share, and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froshan Fighting, and we'll see you very soon. Paul's boxing career has been filled with spectacle and controversy. He gained massive attention after knocking out a series of opponents, including former UFC stars, but never fought anyone truly at Davis's level. His fight with Mike Tyson in November 2024 garnered the most viewers ever for a streamed sporting event at the time. But critics argue that these events have done more for entertainment value than for the integrity of boxing itself. For many, the idea of Paul fighting Davis only reinforces the feeling that boxing is becoming more of a spectacle than a competitive sport. Some argue that the sport has lost its way with these so-called freak fights that are all about the drama and pay-per-view sales rather than genuine competition. We were yelling so much about him fighting someone, fight somebody your size. His next opponent is by far he's the most credentialed guy he's ever fought. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. On the other hand, Eddie Hearn seems to understand Davis's business decision even if he doesn't like it. While Hearn wishes Davis would face Lamont Roach in a proper rematch, he acknowledges the financial realities of the situation. According to Hearn, Davis could earn around $30 to $40 million for the exhibition with Paul. In comparison, a rematch with Roach would likely pay him far less. It's clear that Davis, who has been vocal about his lack of motivation to continue boxing, sees this as an opportunity to cash in before possibly stepping away from the sport. Hearn even speculates that this might be Davis's last fight as he's seemingly grown disillusioned with boxing. I will have to come up with something for Shakur Stevenson. If I don't, that may be the end. It's got to work for me as well as Shakur. Maybe I haven't got anything for him. Maybe he hasn't got anything for me. But right now, I know what we agreed with His Excellency, and that's what we'll do for now and then see where we go. I know you said you wanted to make that Tank fight. So hopefully we can see that in the future. Eddie Jake Paul, isn't he? So, I don't know whether he'll fight, what's the rematch? Lamont Roach. I don't know if he'll still fight Lamont Roach. I know he's fighting Jake Paul in November and then maybe Shakur after that. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. The fight between Paul and Davis has raised concerns, particularly due to the significant weight difference. The two fighters are reported to be around 65 pounds apart in weight, with Davis typically fighting in the lightweight division and Paul being a much larger competitor. The safety risks of such a disparity are hard to ignore. According to experts, this could be dangerous for Davis, as Paul's size and power could pose serious challenges to the much lighter and faster Davis. But the financial rewards coupled with the excitement of the event seem to outweigh the risks for Davis, at least in the short term. What do you think about the rumors that Tank and Jake fighting? Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that he called cap on it. So if he going to call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove. So I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he'd better be on his A-game. Meanwhile, Lamont Roach Sr., father and trainer of Lam Rowe Jr., has expressed his frustration with the situation. Roach Sr. was hoping for a rematch between his son and Davis after their controversial draw earlier in the year, which many felt was a missed opportunity for Roach to claim a victory over the undefeated Davis. Instead, it now looks like the fight won't happen anytime soon. And Roach Sr. made it clear that they couldn't just sit around and wait for Davis to change his mind. He expressed hope that the rematch would eventually take place, but he wasn't going to sit idly by and wait for Davis to make up his mind. That the fight was supposed to the rematch was supposed to happen, right? And so I know that at the end of the day, things happen, things don't, particularly go on the timeline. It kind of seemed like a repeat of how the first fight kind of was put together. It seemed like it was going to be here and there and things like that. So, I know that we didn't get the rematch for this month on the time we scheduled. So, there's any updates and stuff. I know that your son did something with Pro Box recently in boxing scene about maybe the fight may not happen. So, I don't know if there's anything that you can speak on or he pretty much said it all. Like that's the fight we wanted and I think that's the fight the fans want, such after a great fight like that. Everybody was looking forward to the second bout, but unfortunately, things ain't lining up as planned. So, we just can't sit around and wait. We got to move forward and, continue our career. We're not in a position just to see stagnated and wait, for something like that to happen. That fight's going to be there. Hopefully it happens soon, but, we looking to get back in the ring for the year out and, I think we will. In fact, Lamondro Jr. took to social media implying that Davis ducked the rematch in favor of the bigger payday with Jake Paul. This sentiment is shared by many boxing fans who were eager to see the rematch between Roach and Davis after their first fight was marred by controversy. Roach's camp had been vocal in their desire for the rematch, which many believed would be a competitive and exciting match. But with Davis choosing to fight Paul instead, those hopes have been dashed for now at least. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the bills. I've been telling y'all that. And I'm just glad I got to show it. Honestly, I'm glad I got to show it. I appreciate, like I said before, I appreciate true boxing media. Some guys that didn't count me out. So that's just how I feel, man.